Good afternoon, Eagles fans. I'm Chris McPherson, and this is your Eagles update on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Well, Demetrius Bell is an Eagle after all. After leaving Philadelphia without a contract this past weekend, the Eagles announced on Wednesday an agreement on a 5-year deal with a former Bills left tackle. The 6'5", 311-pound Bell started 30 games at left tackle for the Bills and should quell the Eagles fans' fears for Michael Vick's health as the team looked to shore up Vick's front side, previously taken care of by the injured All-Pro Jason Peters. Head coach Andy Reid and general manager Howie Roseman lauded the 27-year-old tackle's athleticism, a trait that has been a theme along the reconstructed Howard Mudd offensive line. We welcome Chris Brown, lead journalist for BuffaloBills.com, here to PhiladelphiaEagles.com. And Chris, the Buffalo Bills have had a knack for taking athletic prospects and turning them into quality offensive linemen. We've seen it here in Philadelphia with Jason Peters. How were the Bills able to do so with Demetrius Bell?
Well, I mean, I think they knew based on bloodlines alone, being the son of Karl Malone, they were getting a pretty athletic player in Demetrius Bell. But when they drafted him, he was young in football. He only had about 3 years of playing experience, and that's why he fell so far in the draft to round 7. So really a developmental type prospect. And the last couple of offensive line coaches here with the Bills have done a pretty good job of molding him in to a capable NFL starter on the left side.
Now, Chris, he didn't have a whole lot of time to learn. He had the one season his rookie year in 2008 where he did not play, but after the Eagles acquired Peters prior to the 2009 NFL Draft, Bell was slotted as the opening day starter at left tackle. How did he fare in his transition from someone who was on the bench to someone who is now being thrust into the action?
Well, I mean, there were certainly some growing pains in 2009. I think that was due part and parcel to a little bit of a mess with the coaching staff. Right before the season, Dick Duran, who was the head coach at the time, fired his offensive coordinator, Turk Schoenert, 2 weeks before the season. It really kind of complicated things and interrupted the continuity on offense, and the offensive line suffered as a result. They were trying to institute a no-huddle offense. It really proved to be a big problem. They ended up scrapping it about 5 weeks into the season. So I think it really kind of compromised Demetrius's development in 2009. But then in 2010, he really started to come into his own, and the problem there was he suffered a serious knee injury. It kind of cut short that season for him. I believe he missed 8 games that year, the last 8, and actually had to have microfracture surgery after that year. Comes back in 2010, and really, and I'm sure he'll tell you this, he wasn't 100% until about mid-season of the 2010 campaign, but kind of fought his way through it with a knee brace on, and by the end of the year was really coming into his own. And I know he wanted to continue that in 2011, but again, injury bug bit him, and he missed 8 games due mainly to a fractured collarbone that he suffered in Week 4 last year at Cincinnati.
Now, Chris, he started 6 games last season for the Bills. The Bills were 4-2 in those contests. Bell did not play in the game against the Eagles last season. How much was Bell missed when he was not in the offense?
I mean, they had their 4th-round rookie in Chris Hairston out of Clemson, who stepped in and played okay. Now, he didn't play as well as Bell, obviously not nearly as experienced, but they were able to hold things down. And I think the main reason why, Chris, is because this offense was predicated on timing, and more often than not, Ryan Fitzpatrick had the ball out of his hand in 2.5 seconds tops. So this was a quick strike, short game type of passing attack without a true deep threat in it that benefited the offensive line from a protection standpoint. That's why I think it's going to be really interesting to see Bell in the Eagles offense, because, Michael Vick holds on to the ball a little bit longer than 2.5 seconds more often than not, so it's really going to bear some watching to see how Bell adjusts to that.
Now, Chris, in 2010, according to Pro Football Focus, Bell only allowed 4 sacks the entire season. When he's at his best, what makes him such a good left tackle?
Well, I think it's his feet. I mean, he's a very athletic player. He's got very good agility, which you need, obviously, at that left tackle spot. And I think he's a technician. He's a finesse type of player. If people are looking for a Jon Runyan fire in the belly, knock people off the ball type of tackle, that's not Demetrius Bell. Demetrius Bell is going to rely on his athleticism and his technique to get him by at the left tackle spot. He's not a fire in the belly, kill the guy across the line from him type of player.
Are you surprised that he did not factor into the Bills' long-term plans?
Well, I know the Bills did make an offer to him They never heard back from Bell's camp, and so I think they were pretty resigned to the fact that he was going to try to seek out a better deal on the free agent market. I think the Bills would have been happy to have him back in the fold, just at their price, not his.
Chris, you mentioned that his father is Karl Malone, but the two don't have a relationship. What is most impressive about Bell in his off-the-field character and the fact that he was able to make it to the NFL despite not playing a whole lot of football, of organized football, and being where he is today now, a Philadelphia Eagle?
I think it does speak to his work ethic. I mean, he's quiet, keeps to himself, not a real vocal guy, pretty much only speaks when spoken to. But I don't think you really have to worry about this guy working hard in the offseason. And a testament to that was what he did to come back from microfracture surgery. For those that don't know, that is a major procedure surgery-wise, and he fought his way through training camp to stay on the practice field day in and day out, to have that knee as ready as possible for the regular season in 2010. And as I mentioned, it still wasn't right. I mean, it wasn't 100% healthy. He didn't get to do all the offseason work he wanted to do, but he kind of gutted it out at less than 100% for the first half of that season. And that really convinced his teammates and a lot of people in Buffalo that the guy is willing to work hard and do what it takes to grind and be there for his teammates every week.
Chris Brown, lead journalist for BuffaloBills.com. Thank you very much for the tremendous insight, and let's hope that the Bills are not producing any more left tackles for the Eagles in the near future.
Yeah, we'd like to keep ours. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. The NFL also announced the 2012 preseason schedule on Wednesday. The Eagles opened the exhibition slate home against Pittsburgh, a team that the Eagles will also see in the regular season. The Eagles will not have much time in between the second and third preseason games, as they are on the road Monday, August 20th in New England and are away just 4 days later in Cleveland. The annual end of the preseason rivalry with the Jets continues on Thursday, August 30th. The 2012 regular season schedule will be announced later this month. Demetrius Bell will be introduced to the media on Thursday. We will broadcast the press conference on a special edition of Eagles Live beginning at 10 a.m. Also on Thursday, free tickets for the Eagles draft party are available at 11 a.m. Check out the events calendar for more details. I'm Chris McPherson, and this has been your Eagles update on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Have a great Eagles night.